Narratives is the most important concept to understand in crypto, but there are too many narratives going around these days. Which ones are actually the best? Which ones are not relevant anymore? And which narratives will actually be the best performing? In today's video, we will answer all these questions once and for all. Welcome back to the Virtualbacon channel. My name is Dennis. I'm a crypto angel investor for the past 6 years, and I have invested in over 100 crypto startups. On this channel, I share views on market trends and investing strategy to build wealth in crypto. So what is the best strategy to tackle all of these sectors in crypto today? I like to separate crypto narratives into 3 categories. Number 1, we have the proven narratives that will most likely perform well in this cycle. These are things that everyone already knows but are still very excited about, such as gaming, AI, DePin or decentralized computing, Memecoins, and some of the well-known ecosystems that are super easy to trade on, for example, Solana and Base. At the end of the day, these are the narratives that the retail audience can easily understand and get into. Secondly, we have the upcoming narratives that might not catch on, but still have much higher upside if they do. These are categories like ZK, restaking, modular blockchains, hyperscalable and parallel blockchains, Bitcoin layer 2s and Bitcoin DeFi, RWAs, SocialFi, etc. These are narratives that are new to the market and still need time to penetrate the retail audience, but they do have merit because they are innovating on something new. Lastly, we have older narratives that are not worth mentioning anymore because they are either oversaturated and not exciting, or they have some specific trouble that prevents them from gaining adoption. These are things like layer 1 and layer 2 copycats that are still trying to kill Ethereum, or privacy, which typically have a lot of risk when it comes to regulation. DeFi is also tricky because everyone is still copying the same things and very few DeFi protocols are innovating on something new. And we have GambleFi, which is also very risky from regulators. And lastly, metaverse, VR, or play to earn. These are the last generation of gaming coins that are no longer relevant today. This basket of crypto narratives have all had their time to shine, but the winners in these categories have all been decided on. And the newcomers in these sectors are also not able to innovate anymore. Next, I want to talk about how I choose which narratives to focus on. What is the best strategy to tackle so many narratives? Personally, I don't like to have exposure in every single crypto sector. Instead, I like to focus on 1 to 2 at a time and rotate when the tides shift. Remember, you don't want to spread yourself too thin on every narrative. This crypto cycle specifically is much more aggressive than the last cycle. Today, we have more than 10 different narratives that are popular. You simply cannot be an expert in everything. So for long-term exposure, I like to recognize 2 or 3 narratives that are super popular and easy to understand from the retail perspective and keep betting on them. These are the obvious narratives that we have already covered: gaming, AI and decentralized computing, meme coins, and a tiny bit of infrastructure that's actually innovative and gaining adoption. For the rest of the crypto sectors, they only pop off at certain periods of times due to specific tailwinds. So what I like to do is to follow the trends and get positioned in one new narrative every 1 to 2 months. It's also important to mention that I don't always chase new narratives. Instead, I only do so if I can see a clear catalyst event way ahead into the future, at least 1 to 2 months away, that will propel a specific sector, which means I can get positioned early. You can find some examples on our previous videos on the channel with our monthly top crypto series. So in January this year, it was all modular infra because Celestia just launched, which led to a subsequent airdrop hunting season on Celestia. In February, it was meme coin season led by Solana memes and the explosion of that ecosystem. Then in March, it was all about AI due to the NVIDIA GTC conference. In April, there was another major wave of Bitcoin ecosystem because of the Bitcoin halving. And then in May and June, I believe ZK is about to have a comeback due to the launch of ZK Sync. These are some of the example sectors that I like to focus on in a 1 to 2 months time frame when I know that there are specific events happening during that time. But I do not hold these positions as long-term in my portfolio because they are simply just short-term rotations between narratives. Okay, now that you know my strategy to tackle crypto narratives, let me give you really briefly all the top projects in each narratives that are either in my portfolio or on my watch list as they haven't launched. We will be mentioning a huge list of altcoins in this video, but remember, I don't have all of these in my portfolio at all times. Instead, I only do the research on them so I know that they are legitimate. And once I know a specific sector is about to pop off, then I have already a list of coins to go off of to do more research on in order to gain exposure. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the first sector, that is crypto games. For the gaming projects that are currently live, we have Wilder World, Corpo, Apiron, Planet Mojo, and My Pet Hooligan's Karat token. These are my go-to coins whenever the gaming sector becomes popular. Then we have 10 of the upcoming games that I have done research on and have tried the games, but they haven't dropped just yet. These are Sparkball, Chrono Forge, Avalon, Godzilla's Off the Grid game, Neon Heroes, Blocklords, Treeverse, Spellborn, Cross the Ages, and Shadow War. Next, we have the gaming infrastructure projects, starting off with the channel favorite, Superverse. Then we have GuildFi, which is rebranding to Zentry. We have Games.gg, a freshly launched gaming launcher. We have ReadyGG and Xborg, which are yet to launch. Next up is the DePin sector, and I don't actually have the two most well-known projects, Render and Akash, in my portfolio. Instead, my favorite liquid token in DePin right now is World Mobile Token. This has a lot of alpha going for it, and I will make a follow-up video very soon. The rest of the projects in this sector are all upcoming, so they are Aether, IONET, GPUNet, Rivals Network, and NodeOps. In the AI crypto narrative, there are the decentralized physical infrastructure projects, which are essentially GPU marketplaces to support the demand of GPU for AI and inference and training. On the other hand, we have the actual AI computing networks. These are networks where the AI models actually are ran and the inference actually happens. So on this list, the most well-known project in this sector is obviously BitTensor, but BitTensor is already crazy high valued right now. So I have a list of 4 coins here, which are Netmind, Marlin, Fallon Network, and Fluence. These are my go-tos for AI compute when it comes to projects that are similar to BitTensor. The AI crypto sector is still quickly getting developed, and there are tons of upcoming projects that are very legit you should check out. So these are a few of them. Sharp AI, Ringfence, Near actually has their own AI protocol launching quite soon. This is still in stealth mode. We have Blue Whale AI, Modulus Labs, Jensen, Zero G Labs, and my personal favorite, Inference Labs. These guys have just launched a BitTensor subnet that's the first to support inference on the entire network. I will be making an updated video on the entire landscape of crypto AI projects, so make sure to stick around on the channel and subscribe if you don't want to miss it. Next up, we have the 2 major blockchains that is actually gaining retail adoption, which are Solana and Base. These are 2 chains that are actually cheap enough and offer a really good user experience for retail audience to speculate on different coins. Solana is truly next generation now, and a lot of people onboard to crypto entirely through Solana. And Coinbase, with their Base chain, is also offering a very similar solution, directly going from the Coinbase exchange to something on-chain. So of course, you can buy Solana directly, but in the Solana ecosystem, I actually have 2 picks that are very specific. Swissborg, you might have heard of as a centralized exchange and CDFI product from 2 cycles ago. They are making a full rebrand and full pivot to support the Solana ecosystem natively. This is one of my gem picks in Solana right now. Another major bet I have in Solana right now is Eclipse, which is the best of both worlds, combining Solana's scalability with the adoption of Ethereum. Then we have Base. Now, Base doesn't have its own token and probably won't have one at all. So the 2 ways you can gain exposure to Base, one is through the Optimism token, which is the technology supporting Base, or you can go for directly Coinbase stock. If you want to be a bit more degen, I have covered 2 projects before, Toshi, which is the leading meme coin on Base, or Virtuals Protocol, which is one of the only legitimate projects on Base right now that is building an AI protocol for gaming on Base. Moving on, we have the meme coins category. Now, I know what you're thinking. Meme coins, really? This is one of the main categories? you have to recognize how the market is shifting. We had so many different DeFi coins and layer 1, layer 2 infra coins that were supposedly going to change the whole industry this year, but none of them have outperformed the major meme coins such as Dogecoin, PayPay, with Bonk. These have all done amazingly well in comparison. So that's kind of where the industry is at today. People are very quickly getting into the industry and only want to buy something popular instead of spending 20 hours studying the next major layer 2 that changes nothing. So that's why meme coins is actually one of the top narratives that I will continue to hold in my portfolio for the cycle. And my favorite large cap meme coin is PayPay. I have already covered this in my portfolio video for 2024 as well. In the portfolio video, I have covered Dogecoin, Shiba, and PayPay. And out of these three, only PayPay has truly seen an explosive growth in this early bull cycle. So that's why PayPay is currently my number one altcoin pick in the meme coin category. If you want to dig deeper, there are also meme coins that are heavily supported by specific ecosystems. In my opinion, these are still worthy to get into because they are relatively safer, and you cannot treat them as pure meme coins because they are heavily supported by these large blockchains. So they are much more legitimate and have much lower risk. So on this list, we have Puff, which is the official meme coin of Mantle. We have Toshi, the official meme of Base. Cock Inu, official of AVAX. We have Foxy, which is officially supported by Linea. And we have Phantom Goat, which is the main meme coin on Phantom. Okay, moving on to some of the more mid-curve stuff. These are technologies and big brain projects that people used to be very excited about, but nowadays are not really gaining that much traction. But regardless, these are very innovative projects in terms of pushing the technology of blockchain forward, so we will cover some of the major leaders. Starting off with Celestia, this is still the main project if you want to tackle modular blockchains. Of course, we have Near Protocol with their own data availability layer. This is also playing into the modular blockchain paradigm. And lastly, we have EigenLayer, which has their EigenDA product, again, a modular blockchain supporter. The other major innovation that is still pushing layer 1 blockchains forward is with hyper-scalable and parallel blockchains. My favorite altcoin on this list is actually Phantom. Phantom not only is one of the oldest running blockchains to date, but they also have continued to push themselves forward. They were first to adopt the DAG innovation in blockchains, and now they are doing something called Phantom Sonic, which is their next generation chain that is able to support even faster scalability than Solana. And this is going to go to mainnet sometime this year. We also have Sei, which is rolling out their Sei V2 upgrade later this year. And Sui is also worth mentioning, although their valuation is already quite high at 10 billion. Eclipse, we have already mentioned, another major option combining Solana and Ethereum. And of course, we have to mention Monad, which is supposedly the holy grail of blockchain scalability that is going to be faster than everyone else. But keep in mind, Monad is still some time away. You cannot even try this just yet. The next narrative is ZK. Now, there are some existing ZK blockchains out there that you can get your hands on, such as Polygon, Starknet, Polyhedra, and Manta. But in my opinion, these are all kind of highly valued and not really doing something super innovative. Instead, what I really want to focus on is with ZK Sync and two other major blockchains coming up. So ZK Sync is potentially launching in the next 1 to 2 months. And if you want to gain exposure, there are two ecosystem projects on ZK Sync that are not that highly valued right now. So ZeroLand is the major lending protocol on all of the ZK layer 2 blockchains and is currently only sitting at 46 million valuation. We also have Koi Finance, I have covered before, sitting at 50 million valuation, the leading decentralized exchange. And then there are 3 upcoming projects that haven't launched, which are heavily supported by ZK Sync. They are GRVT, Tavera, and Sofon. A lot of people are writing off ZK Sync now because of how poorly these other blockchains have launched, but I really think ZK Sync could be a very strong opportunity here if it can launch at a relatively lower valuation because of how the market is doing. There are 2 major ZK chains coming later this year that I'm also watching, and they are Linea and Scroll. And if you want to gain exposure to these, you can try to get on their mainnet and potentially qualify for an airdrop. Or on Linea, you can bet on the main meme coin, Foxy. Again, I wouldn't write these projects off because they are heavily supported with a ton of development and funding, and they have been in development for 3+ years. Just because some of the infra projects are not sexy right now doesn't mean there are not new infrastructure projects that are actually innovative. Hopefully these can launch at a relatively lower valuation as well. Okay, we're almost there, bear with me. The next sector that a lot of people are talking about but still hasn't really caught on yet in terms of retail adoption is RWAs. And the main RWA plays you can get your hands on is not that many. My favorite ones are Ondo Finance, Polytrade, and Scallop. I also have made an angel investment in this other project called Zoth.io, and they are yet to launch their token. Check them out if you want. RWA is one of those narratives that clearly is going to be popular because the institutions, the big money, and especially BlackRock really loves this sector. However, it's a bit harder for the retail audience to understand and get their hands on. That's why I think this is one of the dark horses of this cycle. Check out my video from last year on the top 5 RWA cryptos in this sector. And this video is still relevant because this sector really hasn't seen much growth just yet. Since we're talking about DeFi, we have to mention Chainlink and cross-chain interoperability. This is one of those keywords that make sense and is still widely adopted and widely used in crypto today, but it is quickly fading and not that popular anymore. Our last hope in the cross-chain narrative is with Layer 0, which is about to launch their token very soon. So let's see if the Layer 0 token can actually gain a lot of hype. Maybe this sector can make a comeback. The main coins in this sector are Layer 0, Chainlink, and XLR. Another major buzzword that you must have heard of in DeFi is restaking and EigenLayer. Without getting too deep in the weeds of things, this technology is basically allowing you to stake your Ethereum and other proof-of-stake altcoins and earn extra rewards and do extra work on top of the proof-of-stake consensus in the blockchain. The main protocol that invented this utility and sits below everything is EigenLayer. And their token launch is probably going to be one of the most hyped this year. Some other projects that are building an EigenLayer with tokens already live are Omni Network, Renzo, and EtherFi. Although you might notice that these are already quite highly valued at $1 to $3 billion valuation. So I like to focus on some of the lower cap ones and the upcoming ones. There are 3 I want to mention right now. Vector Reserve, this is sitting at $75 million valuation. I think this has a lot of upside because they are much lower valuation versus the others, and they're tackling something different with this reserve vault protocol instead of a restaking protocol. 2 other that I'm closely watching with tokens launching very soon are KelpDAO and Swell Network. These are quickly gaining a ton of TVL, and it looks like these are going to be much higher potential upside versus the existing coins that have launched at over 1 billion valuation. Okay, now we get to the last sector on this list, and that is Bitcoin ecosystem with Bitcoin Layer 2s and Bitcoin DeFi. If you are not experienced with this whole ecosystem, you might not think this is possible. But today there are a ton of DeFi stuff happening on Bitcoin. You can stake your Bitcoin, you can bridge it to somewhere else, you can do liquidity mining, you can trade on-chain with swaps, you can do a ton of stuff. And there's also the BRC20, the Ordinals, and the Runes token standards, which allow for creation of new assets on top of Bitcoin natively. Currently, I have one favorite project in the Bitcoin ecosystem, and that is CoreDAO. Core is the most mature EVM-compatible smart contract layer that is powered by Bitcoin. You can go ahead and use the Core Ignition incentive program and bridge your Bitcoin onto the Core EVM chain and start doing all kinds of stuff with it. You can swap, you can stake, you can provide liquidity, you can do whatever and truly unlock the potential of Bitcoin. And I specifically like Core versus the other Bitcoin Layer 2s because this is a very long-term project that have existed for over 1.5 years. So a large portion of the tokens is already circulating at 42% versus some of the newer comers to the market, like for example, Merlin Chain that has just launched with their own Bitcoin Layer 2. You can see the effect here. Their circulating supply versus total supply is very different, which means there's a lot of dumping pressure coming from the early investors as this coin has just launched last month. There are a few other Layer 2 projects coming to Bitcoin this year, such as BounceBit and Babylon, which are both invested by Binance. So these will undoubtedly be large-scale projects. But again, these are going to launch at multi-billion-dollar valuations with a large amount of supply still coming from the early investors and the VCs, which will add to the sell pressure. And that's why I think there are not that many exciting and potentially higher upside coins in the Bitcoin Layer 2 ecosystem. And that's why the only one I have in my portfolio today is Core. If you want to go deeper in the DeFi ecosystem, you also have Alex Lab. These guys are one of the earliest to build on the Stacks ecosystem back in 2022. And now they have a full DeFi suite supporting all of the Bitcoin layer 2s and their infrastructure. And again, because this coin has existed for almost 2 years, that's why the tokenomics is a lot better. And that's why the upside, and you can see the chart here, is a lot more healthy. Lastly, if you truly want to be at the forefront of Bitcoin DeFi innovation, you have to look at the Runes protocol. This is a new token standard that's launched at the Bitcoin halving event back in April. And you can find all of the Runes tokens on Magic Eden. Basically, all of the top Runes tokens are currently at a great discount because the initial hype wave has just died down after the Bitcoin halving event and after the protocol launched. But undoubtedly, these will all have another wave coming up, as these are not even listed on any major exchanges yet. And a lot of the infrastructure is still being built right now. For a deep dive on what the Runes ecosystem is, make sure to check out my live stream that I did around the Bitcoin halving event, going deep into Runes. Okay, these are all of the narratives that I think are actually relevant in this cycle. I haven't covered things like layer 1 and layer 2 copycats that are not innovating, or decentralized social media such as Friendtech or DeSo, because these sectors are not really gaining traction anymore. I know I have been a fan of decentralized social media, but looking at the price performance of both the Friendtech token that has just launched and DeSo in the last 6 months, I think it's safe to say that this sector hasn't really picked up just yet. We also have gambling, metaverse, VR, and play to earn, and a less innovative DeFi copycats. So these are things that I'm not really focusing on right now. And so I don't have any altcoin picks in these categories. So that's it. These are all of the altcoins that I think are actually relevant. And again, what is the purpose of this video? First, I have covered my approach to handling crypto narratives in this cycle. With so many things constantly popping off, I really only want to focus on 2 to 3 main narratives that I want to hold long-term in my portfolio. These are things that actually have gained traction and proven themselves. And I think they are gaming, AI, and Memecoins, and a little bit of Solana and base altcoins if you're into them. And on the other hand, with all of the different sectors that are sometimes popular, I want to really pay attention to which sectors are specifically going to be outperforming the market because of certain catalyst events. These are the rotations that I sometimes will make. So that's why I have listed all of the top altcoins in each sector that I have done research on that I have seen to be very legit. But remember, I don't have all of these in my portfolio for long term because that's simply way too many. Usually you want to keep your portfolio to 10 to 20 coins. That's the optimal amount. And that's why having 10 sectors in your portfolio at all times just doesn't make sense. If you want a full breakdown of my portfolio, make sure to subscribe to the channel as I am making an updated video. My first portfolio video at the beginning of the year is quickly getting outdated as a lot of these sectors are changing in and out. And that's why I'm making a full portfolio update video with the new breakdown for the second half of this year. Look out for that video coming up very soon. And lastly, a word of advice before I go. You really do not have to chase every narrative. This cycle is going to be so noisy with everyone trying to push their own narrative forward. Just focus on 2 to 3 that you know are going to do well and ignore the rest of it as just noise. And at the end of the day, we're not here to collect different altcoins in our portfolio. We are just here to make money. So do yourself a favor and do what is easiest and write the easiest narratives. And that I think will make you a much better investor in this cycle. Okay, that's it for this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and share this video with a friend and join our Discord with the link in my bio or go to discord.gg/virtualbacon. For the quickest insights on narratives, make sure to follow me on Twitter as well at virtualbacon0x. Thank you guys for watching and I will see you on the next video.